What's up, Capstone family? This is Ed with Capstone Realty Professionals coming at you on this Friday, the 26th, prior to Memorial Day of 2023. Thanks to all our veterans out there, all our heroes. Both of my grandfathers fought in different conflicts overseas, and I definitely grew up respecting and valuing our people in the armed forces. So thank you all that served. Appreciate you. I think realistically, this week was definitely a very, very, very positive, yet wow, what is happening in this market type of week for Capstone. Very busy. We're bringing on more new clients than we have in the past. A lot of calls, a lot of people that we're somewhat turning away. We're seeing, like we've been talking about, a lot of these long-term rentals or say short-term renters looking more towards the long-term option. Probably, if they've bought in the last couple of years, more than likely they're going to end up selling. So we're going to see more houses on the market for sale. If you look at our site right now, you're seeing the active. It almost looks like it's starting to the active listings. It's starting to make this little bend in the bottom, and I wonder if that means we're going to start seeing more inventory than we've seen in the past. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed, because this week of the properties that we have listed, the market is gangbusters. We put a coming soon on the market yesterday. We had no fewer than 15 calls by 4 o'clock this afternoon. Less than 24 hours on the market, and agents are just chomping at the bit to get access to this place, which it's still tenant occupied until the end of the month. In addition, like, investors are looking for good properties to park money. I did talk to one investor this week who still somewhat unrealistic in what she was looking for a 7% return. And, I ran the numbers backwards and forwards in a couple of different parts of the valley, and just like, what we're seeing there is, we're seeing kind of trailing numbers. People see the rental rates of what they were getting, and we're seeing price reductions on the rentals. Not huge price reductions, but we're not pushing the values like we were for the new stuff that comes on the market. So something to keep in mind, like if you're looking to hedge against inflation right now, getting 7% would be tough as a cash on cash looking like out here. I mean, think more in the 5.5 range is more realistic. Let's see. The other things to learn this week. HOA shakedowns are changing for sure. We got a letter in the mail for one of our properties. HOA, a blanket message that basically says, if you haven't painted your house in the last 6 years and can show proof of it, we want the buyer, after the close of escrow, to paint within 30 days. So tell me how that changes things. How many buyers are going to be able to do that and pay for painting? Like, that's next level. So interesting in seeing that HOAs are doing that now. That's a kind of a new level of low in my opinion. But again, let's see what happens and how that shakes out. Solar leases this week, we're working with a particular buyer that is getting into a property with a solar lease, and we've seen our fair share of solar leases, dozens really. Like I go through these contracts because they're very interesting, and most solar leases have a bad rap, right? But some of them, like this one, were just written in my opinion, to take advantage of people. And in this particular case, it's multiple levels of just places that they ended up kind of gouging the consumer. Whether or not the consumer knew that these terms were going to be as restrictive as they were is kind of next level. But most solar leases that we see are pretty easy, right? They're pretty simple. The buyouts maybe aren't too bad. This one is just such a next level. So we're working through that. Let's see what happens. But as the client reaches out to that particular solar company, let's see what their response is, knowing that they put a solar system on a roof that had less than 5 years left of life left in it. So let me tell you, that's a gut punch right there. When replacing a roof was costing only $12,000 a few years ago, and now the bids are looking closer to 30. So let's see what that looks like too. Interesting things happening. There's so much going on, which is super, super cool. We're in the middle of a lot of it. this shift from short-term rental to long-term rental. We're seeing it tremendously. We are seeing investors coming back into this market, but again, the numbers that a lot of them want to see are hoping to hedge against inflation and just not enough, right? Like the two I spoke to this week, it just the numbers just are not there because rents, again, in all confidence, like I don't expect that we're going to see any sort of surge in rental rates anytime soon, even though we do have this shortage of housing. Appreciate you watching. Have an amazing Memorial Day weekend, and look forward to connecting with you again next week. Thanks.